Right, shalom, giving all praise unto Abashim Hashabashim Kohakorash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and the honest brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh Hashabashim Kohakorash. This is going to be a relatively quick video based on the current political climate out here within the UK, the ever-escalating climate in the UK and America too, with the ice that you've been seeing. And it's become so common for Jake to be what's the word I'm looking for here, persecuted. That's become a meme. And the same thing here within the UK. You're seeing the minorities. It starts with the minorities, but we know what it's all about. It's about Jake, but it starts with the so-called minorities, which I don't like that term minority, because we're not the minority. Right, Jake is the most dominant on the face of the planet, whereas the sands of the sea and these regressive Edomites with their so-called intellect, they're not even really reproducing like that, man. I've seen it with my own eyes. Dudes that are sons of millionaires. Dudes is rich, okay? Got money, man. Money is not even an issue. Space, not an issue. Don't even want to reproduce. Okay, so the idea of Jake being a minority is farcical. You got a situation out here where Jake, poor or rich, is going to breed, man. It's just within our nature. It's just our physiology. It's not because you got some kind of mental deficiency that you breed. Even a chicken knows that it needs to breed in order for it to exist, if that makes sense. Okay, you can't just exist while not existing at the same time, while not procreating at the same time. But anyways, I say all that to say this. Okay, you're seeing this ever shifting way of thinking about particular things now, and it's becoming increasingly more apparent and acceptable that these minorities, so-called minorities, must needs be persecuted. Now, what I'm going to say first and foremost is this: amongst any demographic of people, there's going to be degenerates amongst that particular demographic of people, and traditionally speaking, it's going to be, the most petty crimes is going to be the poor, and the most heinous crimes is going to be the rich. And that's true of any demographic of people. What Esau is doing right now is sensationalizing the small degenerates, which you're going to find in any demographic, right, of these heathens or Jakes out here within the UK, and he's putting that on full blast. Now, we don't stand in support of any degeneracy. We do not stand or support for any degeneracy. But the point I wanted to make with this particular video, which I've made videos like this before, I wanted to ask a simple question. It's like, has Esau forgotten about his own history? Like, have you forgotten about who you are? Have you forgotten about all the atrocities that you've done in the world? Here it is, you're going to stand on stage and you're going to say, we got to get rid of these migrants, folks. I got to use the Trump adage, right? We got to get rid of these migrants. We got to get rid of these individuals. We got to get rid of these people out here that are so-called taking away our culture. It's like, well, first and foremost, look, what do you mean taking away your culture? If a man sets up a business and he's successful at setting up that business, and you didn't set up a business, who's the fool? It's you that's the fool, man. Man, this game is so rigged towards Esau, it's ridiculous, bro. Okay, this game is so rigged towards Esau, it's ridiculous, man. Esau with no experience, right? It's just got the English accent, could roll up into an office, right? A Jake come up after him. That's brilliant. And Esau's most likely to get the job. The game is so rigged towards your favor, man. Don't tell me about this BS, man. I don't experience this with my own eyes, man. I've seen this, man. I've lived this. Okay? This is my experience, right? Historically and concurrently, man. I've seen this with my own eyes, man. This game is rigged towards Esau, and you still got these, I gotta use the term, these Baconites failing in a system that favors them. Now, who's the fool? Okay, who's the fool? You're the fool. And then the Baconites are gonna assemble, right, over a Stella, right? They're gonna get a Stella, okay, and they're gonna start up a movement to get rid of these people, the same people that are the fabric of your society. Brother, if you get rid of all of the so-called migrants within this country will fall apart overnight. That's not an exaggeration. The vast majority of the people that work in the national health system are not English people, okay? The vast majority of the people that work in the national, as far as I understand it, they might make up a little management thing, Okay, you might get little management jobs. That's a bunch of Edomites. But the vast majority of the people that make up the national health systems is not the so-called traditional English Edomite. It's these minorities, the same minorities you're saying, oh look, man, you know, yeah, they gotta come out of this country. And the cognitive dissonance on that particular point is ridiculous, because the same time you're gonna take your grandmother, right? The Baconite's gonna take his Baconite grandmother to the hospital and say the hospital line was so crazy, but at the same time you're trying to get rid of those same people that are keeping that particular part of the system running. Transport, heathens, and Jake that's running it. No, let me rephrase that. Minorities and Jake that's running that. Okay, all of these services, minorities and Jake. And you know what I realized about how this whole system works? This whole system works off of the back of Jake being, okay, essential workers. Okay, these minorities being essential workers. That's what I've realized about this particular system. This system works off of the back of these minorities being the essential workers. The top doctors and all of that's usually Elam. Okay, you got a couple Jakes thrown in there for good measure. We've got some family members here that's doing that gig, that do the National Health Service gig. Okay, all of these essential work is Jake. And what I've seen with my own eyes, these BS jobs, these little BS management jobs that this guy doesn't really even, he don't really even need to be here. Like if this guy was eliminated, the company would function maybe even better. It's Esau that be doing that. So what do you think? Like, brother, what are you talking about? Like these minorities are holding you back. You've got nothing to offer. You got nothing to offer. And if you did have something to offer, like you could get some of these other higher echelon Edomites that really are on a level, brother, you'll be winning. And you know what I noticed, you know, a couple months when they was putting up all those flags, one thing I noticed is, as I drove, because the kind of area that I'm in, where I live, you got kind of different vibes, like in different areas. Like you drive one street, it's a totally different vibe, it's middle class. Drive another street, is posh, okay, it's upper class, so to speak, right? And then you drive another road, it's just poor. And I suppose that's the same thing with any other town, but because this is town living is quite small, what you begin to understand is that, what I began to understand with all of that flag bearing that they was doing was, in the poor minority cities, the flags was up. Okay, in the poor minority streets, so like the flags was up. But where dudes was doing the kind of all right, you know, they put their faculties together, they so-called pulled themselves up by the bootstrap, man, they weren't feeding into that. They wasn't feeding into the dream, because they got their piece of the elite pie. Let me say that again. They got their piece of the elite banking family's pie. And that's what it comes down to, okay? That's what it comes down to. It comes down to these dudes, did they get their pie from Esau? And the vast majority of these dudes, you're trying to blame Jake for all of this, that, and the third, but the bankers done took all your goodies, man. And at the same time, you're still forgetting, well, the bankers have taken the vast majority of your goodies. Where did the goodies come from in the first place? How did you become rich in the first place? The same thing that you're accusing these minorities of doing, that's what you was doing overseas, man. That's what you was doing overseas. I mean, like, how this is average news, man. This is not some deep conspiracy. Everybody knows what you did for the scramble for Africa, what the so-called Europeans did for the scramble for Africa. Everybody knows what the British did to Pakistan. Everybody knows what the British did in Jamaica and the Caribbeans. Everybody knows these particular things, but when it comes down to playing the victim, Esau's top tier, right? Let me give you a clap. The Oscar goes to you. #1 victim all the time. It's like, bro, you've been the perpetrator of so much hurt upon the face of the earth. Just skulls and bones turning in the wind off of the back of the red Hebrew Edomite Esau, man. And then you're gonna come up on a TV screen in 2026, jump on Twitter talking about how you the victim. You the victim? Since when? And again, I gotta say this again, we don't condone no degenerate behavior. But brother, there's degenerates amongst any demographic of people. Even right now, these people, these Baconites assembling, and I'm gonna use that Avengers term, these Baconites assembling, there's degenerates amongst them. They're gonna put the suit on, they're gonna put the accent on, they're gonna go out there on Twitter. But let's just be honest about it, man. I know Esau Edom, man. They're gonna portray the Edomite woman as this saint, man. These Edomite women are freaky. They're the nastiest women on the planet. And if you're into that, you're into that. You know, I dabble. I dabble. Okay, but as I've got more mature as a brother in his truth, I'm kind of like laying off them Edomite women a little bit, man. Because they come with their own host of different issues. Okay? They got some psychological issues, man. Okay? They got they got some psychological, some detachment. Remember these women, some of them were cutting toes off of Jake, man. keeping it as a memento. So they got that trait about them that's just a bit weird, isn't it? They're a bit weird. It's a bit you know what I'm saying. But you get to read the spirit of different people, and you vibe as you vibe. But if I'm working with an Edomite or something like that, I take my time to really I try to take my time to really suss out what this person's all about, because I've been burnt, man. I've been burnt in the past. But rightfully so, because with being burnt, you gain experience. You become a man by gaining experience from these particular things that we go through. And you could tell the next brother, look, brother, don't do that, man. Don't do that, man. Becky might seem all lovey-dovey right now, but she's gonna turn on you. And remember, if Esau can play the victim, well, guess what? Becky can play the victim too. Okay? But coming back onto this video, let's go to this video right here. Let's go to this scripture right here, right now. It says, "For he flattereth himself in his own eyes." These guys be flattering themselves like they're the saviors of humanity one minute. Next minute, they're the victim. Next minute, we gotta return it back onto we gotta remember that we're great. Right? Imperialism is not a problem. That's what they said. That's what this dude was J.D. Vance was talking about. Okay? They ain't got no problem with imperialism. So it's like, what is it? Are you a victim, or are you the perpetrator of the blood of people being spilled? What are you? And when you find out with these Edomites, they pick and choose depending on the moment, man. Okay? If they want to go out there into Iraq and drop ICBMs in order to get whatever they want to get out of there, they're gonna do it. And they're going to stand there on the microphone and say, look, I'll do it again. But at the same time, if they want to play the victim, they're going to play the victim. Because they flatter themselves in their own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. Right? The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. Okay? You being a victim is a deceitful thing to push out there into the universe. You are not a victim. You are not a victim. Pakistan. Right? Scramble for Africa. Iraq. Iran, all of these different places, the list goes on, man. I'm just speaking about what's on the top of my mind right now. The indigenous people are out there within America, the brothers out there within the so-called Native Americans, the brothers and sisters out there that was murked by Esau running up in there, which was the French, the Spanish, I believe, was in there, right? The British went up in there, man. Massacred, 95%, right? Death to 95% population reduction between 1450 to about 1850 or something like that. Murked 95% of the population of Native Americans. And then 2026 rolls around. You find out, although you went out there, you took America. Although you went out there, you took Pakistan. Although you went out there, you took Africa and used these corporations as a shell company or a shill to throw the scent of the people being able to work out it was you that took all of these resources onto yourself. Although these things played out within the earth, the elite banking families didn't share it out with you. Okay, the elite banking families didn't share it out with, Bob at the pub with a big belly and he's got the Stella in his hand. These elites didn't share it out with you. Okay, and then instead of addressing that, you want to address the so-called minorities that hold the fabric of this society together. Come on, man. You're flattering yourself. But it's all good. We love the escalation. Bring it on. I ain't going to do nothing. I'm going to stand back and watch. Hey, some of the brothers are going to get persecuted. I might get persecuted off of the back of these rising tensions. That's all good. Okay, that's all good. We're going to do our best to take it gracefully. Right? We might get thrown in prison, might get killed, whatever. This flesh is just here. It's just temporary. Well, Esau, really, he doesn't want to consider, but the reality of the situation is that this, right? The Mosai Yahweh Shema Shai is going to put his men back upon the face of the earth. And it's going to be a whole new day then when Yahweh Shai returns. Okay? Because you got power over the flesh. You could throw a brother in prison. You could kill a brother. You could do whatever, right? Without flesh. But the spirit returneth back unto the Heavenly Father Yahweh Shema Shai. You better believe the Mosai is going to have it to where this kingdom, this earth is going to be taken by his men. Thus saith the scriptures, man. And you know what's going to happen in that time? It's going to be straight up judgment, baby. It's going to be straight up judgment in that day. Ain't going to be no messing around. Ain't going to be no deceit in that day. Ain't going to be no lies. We're going to have the spiritual, right? The spiritual power to be able to look into your history and say, okay, look at that dude, man. He done did the X, Y, and Z, man. That guy was talking a whole bunch of madness on Twitter, man. Let's judge him for that shit. Anyways, man. It's been a long day. Let me get back into the house and chill. Without myself, praise unto Yahweh Shema Shai, Bashim Kohakodash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. Ownership officers that we pushing these truths in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.